Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE was a game released in 2015 for the Wii U and later ported as Encore to the Nintendo Switch in early 2020. It was developed by Intelligent Systems and Atlas while being published by Nintendo. The game was an idle-based RPG that was marketed as a crossover between Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei, which can be seen in the title, FE standing for Fire Emblem and Tokyo Mirage Sessions being SMT backwards. The game received well across the board, averaging 8s for most review sites, but the commercial side did not reflect that success. When compared to the Japanese opening sales of, say, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon for DS, which sold 150,000 copies, the 24,000 the original Tokyo Mirage Sessions sold is pretty disappointing. But why is the game so unpopular? Is it a slept-on hidden gem or a highly reviewed mess? And how's that Switch port? Well, let's see. So he plays Itsuki Aoi, a lazy guy without many aspirations for life. When visiting an Idol Talent audition event at the request of his friend, he sees his childhood friend Tsubasa in the competition. However, things take a turn when he gets dragged into a strange conflict as the presenter gets possessed. He begins draining the crowd of their energy, and takes Tsubasa into another dimension we later come to know as the Idolosphere. Itsuki runs in to save her. From here you start learning about the game's world, where the villains are called Mirages, who are attempting to steal people's performa, a manifestation of people's creative energy. In the Idolosphere, Itsuki and Tsubasa awaken their performa and cleanse their attackers, being Chrom and Kaeda, who then ally with the two. We can get into that part later. Toma, Itsuki's friend from earlier, rushes in to help with his Mirage Kane, and tells the two he is a Mirage Master, a performer who uses their abilities to fight against the Mirages. After you deal with the Mirages and free the presenter, you exit the Idolosphere to be met with Maiko, a representative of Fortuna Entertainment. They are hired as Mirage Masters as well as performers, to provide cover and develop their creative abilities. The game then finds itself in a routine of Mirages showing up, causing problems, then the party entering the Idolosphere and trying to fix it, usually resulting in some sort of character development depending on who gets possessed and how that relates to the characters. Itsuki is a pretty fun version of the everyman protagonist, as they do poke fun at how bland and lazy he can be. Tsubasa takes on the role of an actual main character, and she's pretty fun. A generally nervous and clumsy girl with strong passion for idols and performing, and a pretty infectious optimism that makes her quite fun to follow. Also, it's decently refreshing having Itsuki actually be quite nice to her and genuinely supportive as the pretty obvious romance plot starts to build. As the game goes on, more characters are added to the party, each being pretty engaging. Overall, the plot is nothing revolutionary, but it's fairly solid, and it clearly isn't trying to be some grand tale. However, the idol framing does add some flair that wouldn't be there otherwise, and really gives the game a strong personality of its own. The story is overall not the selling point of the game, but certainly not a weak link either. There's also a plethora of side content that is primarily story-based, fleshing out the characters and helping them grow. They are essentially visual novel segments with an occasional very basic quest to do in a random dungeon you've already seen. They're pretty enjoyable. They give you better insight into the characters while also developing them. Tsubasa's rise to stardom and the hurdles along the way as she shoots to the top, Kiria's exploration into how her image and real identity restrict each other, and more. The ones starring Tiki were very emotionally engaging to me, especially the last one, so I'd absolutely recommend those. But overall, while all of them are skippable, I really enjoyed them and ended up playing most. You get new abilities from completing them, so there is an intrinsic reward as well. There just really isn't much time for the characters to breathe if you're just shooting through the main plot, so these hangout quests really add some variation. Now comes the gameplay. As a turn-based RPG, I'm sure you can fill in a lot of the blanks here. You have physical attacks, skills which cost DP, you can defend, and all of that. You only have 3 people in your party at once, and Itsuki always has to be in, though you're able to swap party members on the fly. Rather than any press turn system or something along those lines, there are sessions. By hitting an enemy's weak point, if another character has a session skill that connects to the type of attack that was just performed, they will attack after without using up their turn. So as you level up, you get normal skills and session skills, which are essentially one attack types to another. Like you can have a sword slash, where if a sword skill was effective, it will hit with a sword attack, or lance thunder, which would go from a lance skill to a thunder skill. When you start, you'll have barely any, but as you level up, you'll learn more and more, and you get to customize and manage which of them you want and how you want to level them up. How the system works is also a little bit complicated. Firstly, you have experience points and the traditional level up, which increases your stats. There are different equipable weapons, which can each level up 5 times, and each level adds a new skill or session skill to your character. You can have a max of 8 each, as well as 8 passive skills. If you already have the skill that you're gaining, it will level up to be +1 or 2 or whatever. This improves the skills in minor ways, like a slight increase of damage or a reduced SP cost. There is also a third way people can level up by leveling up their stage rank. You do this by having them participate in sessions, and it provides them performer and side stories, which leads into the other primary mechanic of Unity, both Carnage and Radiant. Carnage Unity is how you make those weapons I mentioned earlier, using different items picked up in battle and performer. Radiant Unity provides passive buffs and abilities, such as a significant health boost, ability to survive magic attacks with 1 health, or participating in sessions even when not on the field. Finally, there is also the ability to perform a class change, providing 2 options for every character. There are a number of other mechanics, like bonuses from the side stories, ad-lib performances, special performances, and all of that, but I really don't want to bloat this video out too much. As for all of these mechanics, ironically, despite the game's presentation, there is nothing flashy aside from the sessions, but the different systems weave together quite well and allows for a lot of customization and options. It does this while also keeping things streamlined enough so that you don't spend more time in menus than in dungeons or fights. A surprisingly satisfying system without being overwhelming. It's definitely worthwhile. So now I want to quickly discuss the theming of Tokyo Mirage Sessions. The music, the singing, the idols. All of the main characters are performers in some way, most of them singers, but there's a nice mix with some other things like acting or cooking shows in there. Tsubasa, as she rises through the industry, has to branch out and learn many new skills with acting herself, photo shoots, performances, and more. Overall, the theme of creative expression runs through and is genuinely quite inspiring at times, with the drive to always improve being a central reaffirming aspect of the story. Then as for the actual songs themselves, they absolutely own, Reincarnation doubling as Kiria's song, as well as the pseudo-game theme from every trailer. Throughout the game you'll unlock a bunch more songs like that, each of them with absolutely gorgeous 3D animated set pieces to match them. Some of them mandatory, but others as bonuses for certain side quest lines. There's more of them than I would have expected, and I really love them. There's also some songs and animations that can happen during combat from the ad-lib performance mechanic, which is pretty neat. I really love this aspect of the game. To me, it's incredibly appealing and especially refreshing. Despite the cast being teenagers, you literally never see the inside of a school. It's wild. Now what might be the elephant in the room, the crossover aspect. This is a Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem crossover, and wow does it not feel like it at all. There's definitely some Fire Emblem imagery and such in the game, even many characters showing up, but they've all lost their memories, so it doesn't really add anything meaningful. Same goes for the SMT representation. There are little things like the supermarket being called He-Ho Mart with Jack Frost branding, but the enemies aren't even SMT devils as far as I'm aware. They're all unique designs to this game. And since the idol aspect is much more central to the game's identity, it feels weird to brand it as a crossover, especially not as the sole thing being discussed, like in that really terrible reveal trailer. Overall, I think the additions are cute, but they feel more like references than anything else. Though where it gets strange is Fire Emblem's involvement with the last chapter of the game, but I won't elaborate any further to avoid spoilers. But while still no means a Fire Emblem game, it gets considerably much more coverage than SMT does, which just makes the whole crossover thing even weirder. I guess all I have to say about it is that it doesn't drag the experience down at all, but if you go in expecting a proper crossover, you will certainly be disappointed. Now I want to discuss the Switch port. Encore introduced a number of new elements as they moved the game over to the Switch. These include a number of new costumes, various quality of life changes, additional content with some new dungeons. The port also included all the DLC that was released to the Wii U version. Overall, considering that all they needed to do was port the game to Switch and people would be happy, I think they did a commendable job moving it over. The new dungeon is fun, adding extra character details, lots of stuff with items and costumes and abilities. Some quality of life changes were incredible, and I seriously can't imagine the game without them. Namely, the ability to speed up sessions. Since they can really rack up, Encore adding the ability for a couple extra characters to join in even, being able to speed up those animations is a godsend. There's also the DLC dungeon area with the express purpose of grinding. The idea of having 3 places dedicated to dropping various kinds of level up items is super interesting and something I really like. It makes things a lot more streamlined and lets people essentially determine what level of difficulty they want, always having the option to easily grind, but grinding not being so easy that it's just a button press away from increasing everyone by 30 levels. Fast enough to be a convenience, but not so fast that it's essentially a debug menu. There's also New Game Plus mode that even adds the ability to swap Itsuki out of your party, which is a lot of fun. The only downside here is that there isn't any resolution upscale when docked, so the whole game is capped at 720p, and I think Encore would have been perfect with the option of 1080 docked and 720 handheld. It's not the biggest problem in the world, but if there was anything that could be improved, I think it'd be that. Overall, I couldn't be happier it's on Switch now, especially with the general game design suiting portable play surprisingly well. It really does feel like a Vita game more than a Wii U one, so the Switch version really lets it shine. And now that it's off the Wii U, it has a second chance sales-wise. While the sales figures are blurry, Famitsu did a report on the sell-through rate of 60 to 80% for Encore at retailers during its first week, which is wonderful compared to the original's 40 to 60%. Hasn't become a breakout hit, but with the Atlas name hitting the mainstream after Persona 5 and the way larger install base of Nintendo Switch, I'm really happy to see this game be brought to more people, as it's a genuinely excellent title and deserves much more attention than it ever got. So, all in all, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a great game that got bogged down by being labeled a crossover and being stuck on the Wii U. But the Switch version is out and it has a chance to be seen as what it is. A darling RPG about idols and creative expression that delivers on both character, story, and game.